then they're doing you a disservice. Period.
We've got 40 people working as coaches at Spitfire Elite with resumes that are so bananas.
So many people talking about, listen, I sat down with my spouse and we had a conversation that I didn't even know we needed to have. And I love that.
Most pilots don't understand what career opportunities are available in the world of aviation. They're making career decisions based on advice from friends or posts on internet forums, meaning they are taking huge risks with their livelihood without having all the details. This podcast was created to help you understand the aviation industry so you can find your dream job. Let's get ready for Pushback. Here's your host and my dad, Nick Fialka.
Hey, pilot, welcome to the podcast. It's Nick Fialka. You found Ready for Pushback, and it is my birthday. Actually, it's Ready for Pushback's birthday, but I'm celebrating, and here is how I'm celebrating. Doing something a little bit special. I am releasing this episode on YouTube. It's a video episode and an audio episode. So you can hop over there to the YouTube world and subscribe to my podcast page and watch it and see what I look like and how goofy we are when we chit-chat. So today I am talking to Tron Williams and Bill Sims from Spitfire Elite, and we reflect all about the year that we had and how much fun we had, all the new things we did. And it's just a great, great episode. Plot twist, bonus track. Guess what we're doing also? Tomorrow, I'm launching another episode as well. Episode 110, which is looking forward into 2024 and our predictions and our thoughts about the industry. This conversation that we had ended up being so in depth that I just decided it was worth it to chop it up into 2 episodes and release them one day and then the next. So episode 110 is coming up. You'll see it tomorrow. I hope you are enjoying this show as much as I am enjoying being part of it. And so yeah, let's do it. Sit back, relax. Let's get ready for Pushback. Here we are. Hey, Bill. Hey, Tron. How are you guys?
What's up, Nick?
What's up, Nick?
This is fun. I think this might be the first time I've interviewed 2 people in different locations to create a show. So we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be awesome. And I am stoked because we are here to do a couple things. Number one, we're going to talk about the year in review and what this life was like. And I want to give you my perspective because here's how this happened. Here in my head, this is how the podcast happened. I think that I called Tron, and we were talking. I was a coach and just talking about all the things we talk about. And I think I said, "Hey, I think you guys need a podcast." It was either Bill or Tron. I can't remember which one. And you came back to me like a couple days later and said, "Yeah, you're right. You were doing the podcast." And I think I resisted for quite a while. Is that what you guys remember?
That's pretty much. I think it might have been. I know I had a conversation like that with you, and it was, no, I think you'd be great at it. You should do it.
Man, yeah, it's nuts. Look at us now. I mean, it's been great. I think it took a couple months to get going because first off, I was super nervous, and I recorded a bunch of stuff trying to just figure out what I could create, and I deleted it all. And I'm really thankful that I did because I think that there's this ramp. So we have had this podcast has exploded. We have had thousands of people subscribe, thousands of downloads per day. It's massive. And so I want to get your perspective on Tron. Will you talk to me a little bit about kind of how we paced through the year and what you see, where we started with the podcast and with Spitfire mostly, like, because that's really where the growth has exploded is with the people that we are involved with. So, will you talk a little bit about how we started at the beginning of the year in 2023 with Spitfire and kind of where we are now?
With this being the 1-year anniversary, hey, like, I want you to remember the one conversation that we had when we talked about the podcast and its potential for having impact. And I know we talked about having guests and we talked about trying to get directors of hiring on and then, using it as a marketing ploy for Spitfire or whatever. More importantly, I said that you're going to have an opportunity to have impact on people, all different types of people, black, white, yellow, green, people wanting to, fly airplanes tomorrow, people having a long time before they get there. And we talked about your individual episodes and how impactful you could be. And I said, mark this day, we'll look forward and you'll have your impact on the industry. And you have. So kudos to you. We never get to say that. And that was the first thing I wanted to say before we talk about anything. But my hat and a major salute to my dear friend, Sir Nick Bialka.
Sir Nick.
I see it more and more now that when I'm on the line and I meet a lot of people that listen to this show. And I mean, honestly, gratitude is the word because I'm thankful. Yeah, I'm thankful. Can't even tell you how nice it is to have somebody just come up to you and smile that I don't know. And I get to meet them and I get to spend time with them and to hear the stories. And I mean, shoot, when Anna and I recorded that 100th episode, I mean, it's one of our biggest episodes and so many people talking about, listen, I sat down with my spouse and we had a conversation, this really in-depth conversation that I didn't even know we need to have. And I love that. That's so good.
Nick, I'll tell you an unintended result of this. When you told me that you were going to do half your episodes as solo episodes, my initial thought was like, well, I mean, shouldn't we just get more guests on there? And now it's my favorite part. I did not expect to be inspired and mentored by your solo episodes. And I have found those to be helpful, valuable, and inspirational in my daily life. I've got a 50-minute drive to work. And I'll tell you, if I skip an episode, I'm not skipping the solo ones. So thank you for that. I kind of was like, well, you know what you're doing. You're the podcast me. So, okay, I'm with you, buddy. And I didn't expect for it to be to get so much out of it for me. That was great.
Yeah.
Well, there's the yin and yang between Bill and I with the whole Bill's telling you to make sure you get more guests, and I'm telling you, make sure that you have impact when you're on a solo episode. So I don't know how we do this.
Yeah, it's good, but that's the part we were talking earlier in the pre-show about. It is this relationship that we have, the fact that we are all friends and that we are able to have conversations with one another that are just impactful and consistent, and we don't shy away from that. And it's the goods and the bads and the others. It is something where we really work hard, and it's the selfless part is that we are working hard for the pilot, trying to make sure that we have our ear to the ground and are able to provide value to help them make themselves better. And that is so fun. And I'm appreciative of that. I think
Yeah, buddy.
that we've got a great year ahead, and we're going to talk about that at the end of this conversation. We'll talk about 2024, and we'll not just about the podcast, but also about the industry. So definitely stick around. But I do want, like, we started off 2023 at Spitfire doing things were kind of a status quo, and then all of a sudden they kind of exploded. And so will you talk a little bit about that and about where we, kind of where we started and how we've been just managing this insane year that we just had?
Yeah, it's been a blast. Kind of as the CEO and co-founder with Bill. First of all, the ride has been fun. I know you've been a part of that coming along, and as a client, a coach, podcaster. But our goal initially was just to be disruptors, right? We wanted to kick the door down and be different. I had the pleasure of, being around this industry for a long time. My great uncle's a Tuskegee Airman, very familiar with the conference structure. My great aunt was the president of Tuskegee Airmen Incorporated. So I attended conferences and that sort of thing. Got to see the industry and the ups and downs, and we just wanted to come in and serve. We wanted to go to conferences where we were welcomed and asked, and we also wanted to go to conferences where they're like, "Who are these guys?" And and we showed up at all of those. I think we did a total of 7 to 8. We ran off the list. We start with NGPA, followed by Winning Aviation, SOS, PAPA. I skipped TPN. TPN was in between there. Then we had LPA, which is their first. This is their first year, 2023. OBAP, which was kind of our Super Bowl, and RTAG, which is a huge, huge conference. And so we did and showed up there differently, like no one else, with preparation 4 to 6 weeks prior to. And we were going to ask for the biggest space and ask for the largest room to speak, and in turn, serve in the biggest way with socials and the whole nine to make those great experiences. And not only that for our clients, the goal was to show up and learn more about the service organization, be a part of it, participate in the socials, um, and it's just been a blast. Along the way, we happen to meet and build relationships with recruiters and directors of hiring. But I believe those were really unintended consequences. Uh, so the conference season and where we were last year in our efforts to simply have a positive impact, try to make a person, a better pilot, a more prepared pilot for whatever their transition was, whether that was from regionals to the majors or military to the majors.
I'll also say that you mentioned how we serve and we make the pilot better prepared. One of the things we do is we are if you're one of our clients, and anybody that is already knows this, like, you are also expected to serve. You go to the show, you are expected to find the way to give back, to volunteer, to spend your time, and that has been the difference maker. When you see us at a convention and there I mean, our booth ends up being kind of the heartbeat of the convention, and I love, love, love that, and it's so fun to see because there's such a gaggle of people. They're either in a suit or they are in a volunteer shirt for the organization that we are in, and that is it's so good because I would hearken to say a few years ago, nobody would expect that. Nobody would think of that, and that's been just such a great product, but it's been very intentional. And so to the men and women that have been part of our organization and helped, thank you. On behalf of all those organizations, been so fun. And that's an amazing place to be. I think that the service of us has been really fun, but also, like, Bill, will you talk about give us a behind the scenes of what it's like of what our coaches do and what they're what it's like to be a coach for Spitfire?
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of in line with what you guys were just talking about last year and the review and kind of looking at the why. I'll tell you right now, I know there's just competitors out there, but our competitive advantage is that our team cares more. I'll go to the mat against anybody that our team cares more. Our team, I mean, we've got 40 people working for as coaches at Spitfire Elite with resumes that are so bananas. And I'll tell you this, we could never afford to pay them what they're worth. They're here because they care about people and they care about serving. I mean, Nick, you're a perfect example. You're a 7.6 captain, for crying out loud, right? I mean, like, you spent a year making 37 cents an hour trying to get this podcast up and running. I mean, like, you did that because you care about people. We've got people that invest their time. I mean, from military to non-military, right? I mean, on the military side, we have, 3 Top Gun instructors. We have one guy that taught full-time at the schoolhouse, one of the smartest guys in the world on certain, top secret, technologies and stuff like that, teaching the best and the brightest. He's now teaching here at Spitfire. We have, a retired Air Force colonel in Iran that played basketball at the academy. It's one of the sharpest people that I know, and he's here helping people get better because that's where he's, and then we have people who, like Sean, who's a line check airman at a regional airline, really, really phenomenally talented person who's relatable to people who are trying to get there. I mean, think of the advice you can get from someone like that. It's like, hey, I can tell you how to be successful coming out of Embry-Riddle, going into the regionals, and now that he's flown at both Delta and FedEx, he can tell you how to be successful at both of those companies. And the fact that he cares a lot. I know he's making good money doing what he wants, but you know what? He wants to be at the conferences. He wants to be there to help you achieve success. And everyone on our team's like that. And I'm sorry I can't mention them all. I mean, we've just got some phenomenal, highly qualified and talented people. But, Tron says it best. When we look to hire coaches at Spitfire, we hire people that care about people first. And then you happen to be a good instructor. So, I can sit here and brag on, Top Gun instructors or check airmen, stuff like that all day long. At the end of the day, we would tell them no if this was a transactional side income for them. And we've told people no because that's what we sniffed out. But this is about serving. This is about helping people. And that's what makes our team different. Nobody cares more than people at our team, the people on our team, and I could go on a long list, but that's been the number one. It's not me, it's not Tron. It's been that type of kindred spirit of caring about your fellow pilot. And I'm going to invest in you like you're my own family and give you that advice and to see you be successful. And that's why in my opinion, that's why we've grown. We've been able to scale that. It started, with a small group of people, but we've been able to scale that in our organization. And I don't think I could be more proud of anything else that we've done.
The scaling part's what blows me away. Like being able to manage all of that is just, it's a big lift. And so thank you for that. The Tron, if I've done a ton of episodes, but this is my first time talking to you on the show. And it's also my first time talking just Spitfire, right? And I love, which is an awesome opportunity. And so I want you, if somebody is listening, hopefully somebody's listening or watching because we're doing video now, right? We're trying this out. Tell me about Spitfire. Tell me about what it is, what makes it different, and kind of go through the process as if you were a new client and kind of getting to know everything behind the paywall. Talk to me about all of that.
Sure. Probably need a hand on that because it's a lot.
It is a lot.
From my perspective, I still answer the phones. Bill gets mad at me, but it is extremely important. With as big as we are, and sometimes we see about 200 clients a month, especially during the conference season. I want people to understand that from the top down, like we care. The other piece is I want to know from the client, what's their concerns coming in and where is the need, right? That's the fun in this whole thing. Like, can you find the need? And if so, let's just build it. I'm telling you that there's companies out there that I'm sure they look the same, but we have continued to reinvest in ourselves every year for the last 3. So, so a look behind the paywall is, first of all, we have to get you through a course called Basic Indoc because there's so much to help you. We want you to understand how to be a good student, right? And then it kind of rolls into our style of precision interview coaching, right? To teach and help people understand targeted selection and performance-based interviews. But I always communicate to people because this company has been about a niche, right? Spitfire's the FedEx company. Well, I can say we did start with FedEx, and FedEx was the hardest interview in the system. But we like to do a lot of sports references. So, my thoughts are, if you could beat Michigan this year, then you could probably beat Boise State. And so, we'll get a regional pilot, and they say, "Hey, it's how do I get prepared for SkyWest?" Well, we're going to prepare you on the same level that we would prepare someone for Delta or any other company. So that's kind of where we start with the academics. Let people know that. Then we have things like Know Your Why. Why do we have things like Know Your Why? Because we have clients that are going to answer a couple of questions. You can bet. Why should we hire you, and tell us about yourself? And our core values are authenticity, culture fit, and empathy. So it starts with that authenticity piece. So we literally have a course about how to self-reflect, think about and talk about what your passion points are and why you would want to work at that particular company, and be able to answer the question, tell when you're telling us about yourself. Like, I want to hear you smile. I want to see you be able to have some moments of passion, things that are exciting to you. And maybe you forgot because you've been flying so long. What makes you get up every day and go strap on an airplane on the military side, or just, the ups and downs and the maturation process of aviation. We have courses on, um, uh, learning how to network. We go to these conferences. I allow me to say this really quickly. If your interview prep company is not showing up at conferences where they are offering jobs on site, I know American and United do that, then they're doing you a disservice. Period. Point blank. I'll say it again. We did more than 170 or so on-site CJOs. And so why would you not be there in the mix, helping people get jobs at major airlines and advocating for and pushing clients? We started during COVID. So for us, it was just a blessing to be there and meet clients, in person. So that's how the whole thing started. And so there's that. And then, so the networking piece, and then we've done a falling forward, which is where we like to talk about failures. We have so many people in their maturation process of aviation that have either failed a check ride, stage check, or a DUI, or just some aspect of life that is preventing them from being the best version of themselves as um, and so we talk about all of that before we actually get into the 3 to 4 webinars a day with these phenomenal coaches that care about people, that are on layovers, that have come through the program and know the program, and then now find themselves an opportunity to serve. Um, and people ask about the one-on-one time. Of course, there's one-on-one time. And we want to make sure that you get to do a mock interview. We have trip reports. It goes on, and I don't want to take up too much time, or we'll split this up in some way or another. But I just truly, behind the curtain is a fully comprehensive program to where we find the need. I'll give you the last example is the military to airline transition. We had a successful client come through a program and decide, like, hey, I could have been a little bit better in training. I was an F-16 guy, but I would have been a little bit better in training had I known these things. So I didn't get butthurt and say, oh, you're talking bad about my course, or it's not enough. We said, okay, go build the things that, let's talk about it. And we built a course to help that military fighter pilot be better when he showed up for training. He already had the job. So that, I think, is just one of the core, one of our core values and how we operate as a company. And now that guy is actually a coach, Casey Wilkins. So it's just story after story, conversation after conversation, but it truly starts with helping people be the best version of themselves and give them peace of mind that if you have a hole, we're going to try to fix it. And if you walk on water, we're going to find something wrong. And in this very competitive environment, I think that is, I enjoy it.
Timothy P. Pope is a certified financial planner dedicated to guiding professional pilots through smart financial planning. Whether it's saving for retirement, investment management, a seamless military transition, or strategic tax planning, Tim is your trusted financial partner. Also, you can join Tim as he leads engaging discussions on personal finance and strategies for professional pilots on the brand new Pilot Money podcast. Timothy P. Pope, helping professional pilots make the most out of life. I really enjoyed the live coaching that we do so many times a day, every day. And it was always fun for me. And I tell people this all the time. When I signed up for Spitfire, I treated it as if it were my second job. And it was my primary reason for getting up. I would schedule myself everything, and Anna was on board. She said, "Go get the job. We need to pay the bills, so go get a job." And I loved it. I fell in love with. I would chat. It would be a Zoom call. I'd be chatting with the other people that are participating. I would just be really looking forward to what my next question would be with the coach, and then I'd get crushed because I could not articulate myself well, and I would take that feedback. I filled up my notebook, and it just, I got better and better and better and sharper and sharper. And it's so fun. It's so good. And the other thing that I think we do very, very well, probably better than anybody, is getting you ready for before you even have the invite. And I want to talk about our application review process and what that's all about, as well. And Bill, I was wondering if you could kind of talk to how that orchestrated, because one of the things you'll always hear the ad at the end where I say, "Hey, go to spitfireelite.com/podcast and download my resume and take my resume and make it your resume. And then get on with us to get it reviewed and get it sharpened." And so, Bill, will you talk to kind of the importance of that and how we develop the app process?
Yeah, it's kind of a holistic approach. I mean, at the end of the day, with this, we started off kind of small and we had a 95% success rate. Okay. So 95% of the people that interviewed at major airlines got hired. And now here we are doing over 200 clients a month and growing still. We still are maintaining a 95% success rate. And to answer your question, our model is different. It's industry leading, and it starts with the application review process. So especially for clients who can come to us early, we start reviewing their application. We're going to help you make that thing shine. So when you sign up, we our coaches who are just unbelievably talented at applications. They're very familiar with the inside workings, but more importantly, they care about you more than I think anybody else will. This is not a transactional deal here. We're going to make sure your application is ready to go. So, you know, so that's where it starts. And then once we get your application ready, so when you're ready, hopefully if we can get to you, help you before you submit that application. We're not just going to check for grammar and periods. And you hear a lot of stock advice out there. It's like no abbreviations, no acronyms, put a period. Man, that's child's play. The part that we do is we do a deep dive into your background and be like, hey, you were in the Navy, you were a safety officer. I see that on your resume, but it's not on your application. Let's pull out some core competencies here and make sure that you showcase that on the app, or let's create a whole new job description here for your upgrade. If you recently upgraded at, JSX, for example, let's do a whole nother entry here so we can make sure that that's front and center, that they see that. It's just a variety of things like that to make you to make sure that you shine. And then ideally, you go from application review to interview prep. And I'll tell you, Tron covered a lot of what we do, but our model's different than anybody else. And there's this discussion, this debate. You see one company's like, we give you one-on-one attention. That other company doesn't do that. Well, we're here to say we do both because our model, it's Tron's idea, right? He played football at TCU. He said, let's train them like professional athletes. So when you start off with industry leading academics, nobody's teaching cultural fit and relevance and the way that we're teaching it and the things that we're discussing. And at the end of the day, a lot of the other companies out there are teaching the same old stale material they've been teaching for decades. Okay, so we came in, we disrupted that with industry leading new academics, but now we need the professional sports approach. Let's get you in the gym. We got to work you out. 3 webinars a day, every day, 7 days a week. Nobody else is doing that. Those are webinars where you can watch and observe other people. Because guess what? You need that too. You need to see other people. You will learn more. Also, you can participate in those group sessions. So that way you're going to get a little bit of feedback there. But the final part we call the scrimmage is that mock interview where you are going to get an opportunity to, we're going to simulate your number one where you're interviewing. We're going to simulate that American Airlines interview, that Delta interview. But you know what? That's not what's most important. Most people are ready to go by then, and it's a check in the box. Good luck. Probably didn't need it. I will never stop doing the mock interview because that's where I catch you. We catch you if you're not ready. And if you're not ready, we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again. And that's at our expense, by the way. We're going to make sure we're going to invest in you. And Tron, you'll have to remind me what the record is on how many mock interviews. You know the number, I forget. Do you remember that one that we did a lot of mock interviews to get that pilot ready?
15.
15 mock interviews. This was a special case, but you can do the math. We've got a roughly $1,000 program if you go all in. We did not make money of that. We anywhere close to that because that's not our goal necessarily. Our goal is to make sure that person is successful. Here's the great thing. That person had a great training record at their regional airline. They're a good pilot, but interviewing was just a big mountain to climb. And that's why we're here. And we weren't going to let that go. Nope, you got the program you paid for. We could have cut that person loose after one mock interview and said, all right, thank you very much. You got what you paid for. That's not who we are. And so that is how we've hung on to a 95% success rate, even at scale.
I want to caution the person that's listening that considers one-on-one coaching the best way to do it, because I can tell you that I think it's the worst way to do it. And let me tell you why. Because if you are paying that person to get you ready, all that person does is work by themselves to get you ready and get the next person ready and get the next person ready. And it's an echo chamber and there's no learning. When I'm a coach, when I am in a PIC, a precision interview coaching session, I learned so much just from talking to the variety of people and hearing and just getting their stories, and you just get perspective on a greater scale. And so if you are just working in a silo, you have no ability to grow. You become myopic, whether you want to or not. It just happens. And the second part of that is, how often we have a Slack channel just for the coaches, and we have a community Slack as well for the clients. But 150 messages a day from coaches every single day of us getting each other better. Hey, I saw this. Hey, I need this. There's a client that needs this, that, or the other. Who can help? How? And then also just like, oh, I ran into this. What do you think about taking, this take for helping somebody get better? And you just get that multi-level feedback that makes you a better person. So be careful. If you're thinking one-on-one's the way to go because it's more expensive, like that's a bad move, I think.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that. The truth of the matter is there's companies out there, or I want to work with this person. Well, how do you remain authentic? Truly, because that person has probably done 1,000 interviews at that airline, which means those interviewers have heard those answers for the past 10, 12, 15 years. And so I would caution anyone, like, I don't want, even when we do remedial training, the goal is, hey, if this person isn't ready, let's let someone else get them ready. Because truthfully, I don't the company didn't call to interview you, Nick, right? They called to interview that particular person that you're working with. But if they work with you in an echo chamber and you have a dynamic personality and you can interview very well and articulate your story, inevitably people are going to mimic that. But then when the pressure gets on, because I like to say the defense has legs too, right? You're not playing on air, right? You're playing, when the interviewer starts to ask you questions or ask about that failure that you didn't anticipate, or ask you about that failure, ask you more questions and go back to that failure, you are inevitably going to turn into yourself. And so if you have not worked on being the best version of yourself, there's not a coach that can prepare you for that. So we've got to help you navigate, prepare you while encouraging you to embrace your culture, embrace who you are, how you grew up, what's important to you along the way, because at the end of the day, it's you in that interview and not anyone else, not Spitfire, not any other coach, no one-on-one. And so doing that and getting different pieces of information from people that have done it is the best.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And that's I get I get a fair amount of people reaching out asking like, "Will you do Nick, will you do my prep?" And I say, "No. No, I won't. Our team will prepare you." And that is so important because it's not just me. It's not I'm I'm not it. You're not it. We are it, right? And that's the important part. You want to talk about the merger?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about the merger. What am I talking about?
Oh my gosh. I am really excited. I will tell you that as we're a disruptor in this space and we're trying to compete, we know we do a really good job with getting people ready for all airlines. But pilot counseling services and specifically Judy Tarver has been such a legacy in this space for so long and probably our most formidable competitor. And she just has such a huge following and she's done she's hired thousands and that her and her team have hired, tens and tens of thousands of pilots at all airlines, but especially at American. She was in charge of pilot hiring at American. The people on her team all have done interviews at American or Delta, and they're just a phenomenal group of people that are really, experts in this space. And so what we had on them was, technology. We also have a great team, but we have a more robust group of technology in terms of academics and stuff. She was teaching similar stuff, but I'll tell you what was awesome is that we started talking and we have now joined forces. And what I think is the best of both worlds. So, the majority of coaches on the Spitfire side are all pilots who have navigated this process and have gotten their dream job in the last 2 years. Okay. Because everybody is a client first at Spitfire. They've done this. So, they're all at their major airline of choice right now. They're at FedEx, Delta, UPS, you name it. Okay, American. Then you add in Judy Tarver's team, who sat on the other side of the table. They did the interviewing. So, and I'll be honest, look, I'm really proud of what we've done. What we've done. I think we're really good at what we do. But now that we have Judy's expertise joining the team, uh, I'm learning. I'm learning even more, and collectively, we're better. So now that we've joined forces, and if you're out there and you're looking for Judy Tarver, she hasn't gone anywhere. She's just wearing a Spitfire jersey. Email us. We'll make sure you get to work with her, because she is, I still answer, when I get phone calls or people are like, "Hey, Spitfire, that sounds great. I want to work with Judy." Well, we got you. And yeah, a wealth of experience and expertise comes now that we are working together. So now you pretty much get the best of both worlds. We're in the process of digitizing the Tarver tactics, but everything that she's been teaching is now going to be a part of our academic suite as well as the expertise that her team brings over. I mean, I'm no bias here, of course, but we were the best in this space before this merger. Now you can't question it. Now that you bring the Tarver team over, the pilot counseling services team over, it's not even close in terms of the options out there.
Yeah, it's the only place. It's the only place where you get the perspective from because when you're in the interview, it's you, it's probably a couple pilots and an HR rep, because they want they want to all agree that you fit with that company culture. And this is the only place where you can get that perspective ahead of time to know where you're going before you get there. So important. I'm glad you guys made that happen, because it's just such a fun thing, and Judy's team is great. So awesome. This other thing we talk about a lot is how we give back at Spitfire, right? We talked about volunteering and things like that, but we've also financially given back a lot this year. Would you guys go down that path and kind of recap where we try to have a little bit of impact financially?
Yeah. As a young kid, and again, watching and observing how things work with vendors. Imagine a 12-year-old kid just being kind of drug around by my aunt, who was in her, early 50s kind of at the time, as working as the president of Tuskegee Airmen Incorporated. I saw a lot of transactional relationships, right? So they would set up a conference, and, it's going to be the place to be, where there are, the major airlines are there, and there are sponsors, and everybody kind of tugging at her coattails to get something. Right. And so, um, as I went through my military time and then started to dive back into the service organizations through OBAP, I continued to see the same. It looked like, you know, 1989, you know, same type of transactional relationships. And so for us, it was important when I talked to Bill about this is I wanted to double down, and we weren't even big enough or even in a financial place where it really even made sense. But I just said, hey, like, let's do this differently. So we invested. We invested in, very proud to be able um, to write a check to OBAT this year. It was one of the best things that I've been able to do when it comes to service. We've been able to, because, but to be able to represent the company and say, hey, we're giving back. And we were able to give back to the Ascension Project, where basically it's the young professionals that are now looking to, they're in the early stages of their aviation at colleges. The director of that program reached out and said, hey, we want to check, but more importantly, we want you guys to come out here and help us out, do webinars. And so that's where you got to see even, hey, we were thinking serve, serve, serve. Okay, we do that. Then we write a check, and they're like, hey, the value is in the service. So we've been able to do that. We've supported the SOS Gala, which is really, really cool and amazing opportunity for women of color who are, you're more than likely to get struck by lightning than you are to see a African American or Black female pilot of any from any country. And so that's been really cool. Peapot, almost like a grassroots organization, right? That's been working to a bunch of pilots helping pilots. Was another place where we wanted to invest, serve.
Professional
Um,
pilots of tomorrow. great
That is
organization for
correct.
anybody out there.
Absolutely. And so we may be missing some others, but that's kind of what comes to mind. But the most important, the funnest part about it all is really, we get to serve the people that are there supporting the organization. You mentioned it. We get our clients, we like to show up like a football team. Like we are going to serve. We're going to work the doors. If it's Pacific Asian Pilots, sorry, Professional Asian Pilots Association. You know, if a young kid is there, why should he work the door when ultimately we've got 200 Spitfire clients that can work and hand out T-shirts while for 30 minutes, while that young kid gets to hang out with his or her mentor to be a part of the organization. And we can rotate people through there. Now, obviously, our guys are going to come and get their opportunity to rub shoulders with with the directors of hiring. But when we have the bodies, especially our team, built and we've been planning for 6 weeks to serve, it's always a great opportunity to volunteer. And then, it's always fun to throw down the credit card there so we can have some toasties at the end of the night. So that's a handful of examples how we they're all fun.
Yeah,
Bill?
I love it. With that, the other ways we give back are the free webinars that we do as well, right? Got a lot of those lined up for this coming year. They've been massive. Bill, will you talk about if you're just coming on the show and you haven't heard about them, talk to me about what we do.
Yeah, well, look, we wanna serve first. And look, we've got a business to run, but this is about impact. All three of us have our dream jobs already. Our financial future is not dependent on how well this business does. So, um, I have witnessed, other companies in this space that they're very guarded over their content, like their content. They're very guarded over their secrets. They've got their secret recipe, and if somebody gets it, look out. They're going to copy it and spread it to everybody. Look, at the end of the day, this is about impact. It's about helping people. So, you know, our theory is that, if we're not going to do it, I mean, we'll do whatever it takes at the conference to help you. But if we just show up to the conference and do interview prep there, or application review and resume view there, that's too late. Like, we need to get you ready before the conference. And so what we like to do is we do a lot of free webinars just to kind of raise awareness to make people better, whether they're our clients or not. And so we really need to do a series of 3 to 4 webinars to get you ready for a conference. And if you're not with us, we want you to be better anyway. And so we got one actually well, we know we're recording this, but tonight we're doing it's getting you ready for the NGPA conference that's coming up. We're doing our application and resume review webinar. That's free to the public. We've got our application specialists who are out there to help you and to help you get your application ready, to make sure that you're ready to go. We do interview prep webinars. And then, of course, I think our biggest webinars, the most impactful, the most helpful, is through the relationships that I think the collective 3 of us have made here, we now in 2024, we will have the director of pilot hiring at every major airline on the show. Well, I shouldn't say every, the big 3. Southwest has agreed to come on 2. We've got Delta, American, and United, all going to come on in 2024 on the podcast, as well as do a webinar with us. And that's where we at the end of the day, we care about the pilot, we represent the pilot, we work for the pilot. So we'll get the director of hire, like Corey Glenn's been awesome. He comes on our webinar, and we talk about American, of course. We talk about it, but we also, I'm there to ask those tough questions, or Nick, you're there to ask those tough questions that the pilots want to know, and then that may be afraid to ask. And then also we've got a Q&A live chat to where if you're attending, you're welcome to learn and or you're welcome to ask your questions and get your answers live. All these guys and gals will answer those questions real time live, and that's something that nobody else is doing. And we've had thousands of people sign up for those webinars, and it's just been it's been a great way to get good information out to people, client or not. But that's so it's a way for us to serve the pilot community, because I feel like it's a factory, right? Like you are wherever you are, and you work your way through your ratings or through your military experience, and then you really got your head down focused on that, as you should. And then all of a sudden the day comes where, hey, I'm ready to go to the airlines. And you don't know what you don't know. And so Tron and I, and now you, Nick, but we've been in this space for so many years. We've got the formula to get you your dream job. And you might get there on your own. So maybe you don't. We can probably get you there with the formula that we have. Or if you could get there on your own, we could probably accelerate that for you quite a bit. And as you know, in this industry, time is seniority, and time is money on this. So that's kind of the idea on that. And through all that, Nick, I don't know if I ever answered your question, but it's a known character defect, and I apologize again.
If there were only a way for somebody to find out that this webinar is coming up, how in the world could somebody know ahead of time?
Subscribe to the Spitfire Elite newsletter, and you will be informed among many, many things. So absolutely.
SpitfireElite.com. Go click on it, put your email address in, and hit submit. Boom. Weekly emails. You find out the weekly email is awesome. I love the weekly email. Best thing we've done this year, as far as, one of the, so many good things, but I love it. I read it every week. Got great information, got great tips. It's got information about the podcast. It's got all the things we're doing. You don't have to be a client. It's free email every week. Thousands of people get it. Keep coming. Keep it I want millions of people to get this email. Hey, before you jump out of here and go on to the next podcast, can I ask a big favor? Would you mind going over to your app that you're listening to this podcast on and give me a review? Give me a 5-star review if you love it. Give me a 1-star review if it totally sucks. Put a comment in there, something that is helpful. It helps me. It helps get the word out there. It helps people find the podcast, and that's super cool. If you don't do that, maybe you could just share the podcast with a friend. Tell a buddy who's trying to figure it out, trying to sort out this pilot dream of theirs and get a little bit further. That is super awesome as well. Last, if you don't do either of those two things, how about this? Find a way today to make yourself 1% better. Do that thing that you've been putting off. Put your foot forward, make movement, get yourself going, get that inertia that you need to succeed in this industry. So that's your choice. Leave a review, tell a friend, or make yourself better. Either way, it's all a good choice. And I'm super stoked you're listening, and I will see you on the next episode. The statements made on this show are my own opinions and do not reflect, nor are they under any direction from my employer.